Thanks for having me. My name is Bert. I'm from Estonia. Please raise your hand who has heard about Estonia. Whoa, quite many people. That's great. Estonia is a very small country. We have only 1.3 million people in the country. Can you imagine?
How many?
1.3 million in the country.
The whole country?
In the whole country.
Okay.
It's like Nairobi is many, many times bigger only, right? So it's a very small country, but we are very proud about our country because we are the most digitized nation in the world. So basically we have everything digitized. All the governmental services, all the private services, everything is digital. And Estonia is also very well known about the e-residency. So very many foreigners want to come to Estonia because they can have their e-residency of the country, which means that they can open the bank account, they can start using all the services. So, and our tax system is also quite okay. Why I'm saying quite okay is that we have quite high taxes, but we don't have a tax for the revenue earned by the company. So if you make the revenue, then and it stays in the company, you don't have to pay the tax on it. So it's like a capital gain tax. So we don't have it. So this is the reason also why quite many companies want to come to Estonia. The reason why I came to here in Nairobi is that I'm actually here already fourth time.
Fourth time? This is your fourth time?
Fourth time here, yeah. So I was last time here for 2 months. So I launched my business here a few years ago. It has been quite an interesting challenge, I have to say, because there are a lot of different cultural differences. All the infrastructure is different, so it gets some time to get used to it.
Right.
Because you know the European mentality is different from African mentality, which is very okay. So you have to start with learning the basics, right?
Right.
Because if you don't know the basics, it's very difficult to do business. So I'm on my way to learn, to get to know the culture, the country, the Africa as a continent itself. So it has been really interesting times for me.
Right. Well, you made mention about your country being the most digitalized country worldwide. What were some of the challenges you were facing before you moved into that phase? To be acclaimed as the most digitalized country means you came from a point. You've been in Africa for some time. Comparing the growth of digitalization in Africa, the countries you've visited, and then Estonia, what do you see as some of the challenges that you faced that are being faced currently by most African countries?
That's a very good question. I would start from a little backwards. So Estonia was a part of Soviet Union, which was the part of Russia. So we got back our independence in the 90s. So we have been independent for only like around 35 years, right?
35?
Yeah, around 35. So back at that time, Estonia was extremely poor country because in the 1950s, Estonia was actually a very wealthy country. We had very many entrepreneurs, and there was a lot of wealth built by the businesses.
Right.
Also, my family was one of the richest families actually in that times. But when the Russians came, then they basically took away everything, right? And all these successful businessmen were sent to Siberia. This is in the very backside of the Russia. And basically everything was taken away. So if we gain back our independence in the 90s, then I think the success what Estonia has had in the digitalization is that we were so hungry, right? Because the borders were closed. Can you imagine? People couldn't travel. Wasn't able to travel, right? So, and then if the borders were open and we got back our independence, then we were really hungry.
Right.
And one of the most interesting facts is that Estonia has currently 10 unicorns. If you don't,
10 what?
10 unicorns.
10 unicorns.
10 unicorns, and we have 1.3 million people. Can you imagine?
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's a very big sum, right? We have more unicorns than Africa has, but Africa is huge, right?
Right.
So I think this is all about the hunger and the will to build, to do something innovative.
Right.
And also, I think what comes to Estonia and Europe is that there has been a lot of commitment to the legacy side, right, for building the trust in terms of the laws and everything related to that, because I think building the companies and innovation, it has to go along with being compliant, right?
Right.
So I think this is one of the most important things, and what I see for Africa is that African people really want to be innovative,
Yeah.
right? You are so eager to learn. You are organizing a lot of different events. You want to get more information. You want to do something.
Right.
And I see that Africans have basically the similar hunger that we had back in Estonia in the 90s.
Right.
But we can't say this to all European countries, right? Because in many European countries, there has been, for a very long time, a very good and wealthy periods.
Right.
So I would say some people and countries have become quite lazy. So this is what I see in Africa, is that people want to do things. They want to build innovation. They want to get on the map, on the world map. And I think this is a very nice thing.
Right. Right. So talking about this as being a very nice thing, where you've come from, your journey, and where you are now. Earlier on, you had a chat and you were talking about regulations. We have a lot of people, we have innovative people, we have people who are creative, and they want to start their own thing. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs coming up. But what does regulation or compliance seems to you, who is not an African, but coming to Africa now, coming with an innovation, coming with an idea, coming with a product, not only you, but even with Africans having this kind of ideas. And then regulation. Is it that there is a kind of antagonistic form of fight happening between innovators and regulators, from your perspective?
That's a very good question. There has been a lot of discussion whether if you have a lot of different laws and regulation, if it's good or bad, right?
Right.
And I would say that it's both of them.
Right.
Because if you don't have a lot of regulation, then you don't know what you're allowed to do, right? You're basically like in the middle of nowhere next to nothing, right?
Right.
So, or like maybe a good example, if you are like on a boat on a river or sea and you don't have, this. Yeah. So I think it's good to have the regulation. I think it's good if companies are complied. What I see a very strong point in Estonia is that the public sector and the private sector are cooperating very heavily.
Right.
And they're building the innovation together. They are, actually the public sector is also lobbying and doing the laws together with the companies, which is, in my opinion, a very good thing. And I think that this is the case for Africa as well. And I think that the company should more closely work with the government and the regulators, because in that case, we can build much more powerful infrastructure. And I think that this is the way to go, because you can have the best product on the market, but if you are not complied, you're basically running to the wall.
But don't you also come from this point? I know where you're coming from. I know your business and all you're doing. Very, very compliant. But looking at a startup company, a small startup company, they're not making any bucks. They're not making enough revenue coming in. But there are some regulations that kind of cripple them. And that easily make people to really find a way around regulation. So we move around Africa a lot. I meet a lot of people. We meet a lot of startups. We meet a lot of young people having brilliant ideas, having wonderful ideas, and they want to start it up. But then the sector or the industry they find themselves in, with the kind of demands that is coming from regulators, sometimes don't it look like it's being stifled? They are stifling their innovation. So why can't I cut corners and then move on? Your system is well established, well built. Not every other system is like yours. Now, these young people want to still make a living. They want to cause a change. But regulations is such that it's actually killing them. Coming from where you are, from your company, how does regulators kind of come to that level of understanding with innovators such that even though they're not meeting the mark, there's some kind of leverage, there's some kind of boosting, there's some kind of encouragement for young startups to be able to get their feet, and then what seems so huge as a regulation can be applied to them. Are you of that school of thought that regulation needs to have some kind of leverage, have some opening for startups so that startups can thrive? Because SMEs, private sector, contribute a lot to the economies of countries, as you know. Are you of that thought that regulators need to come to that level where they can have that room for startups to find their feet, and then what needs to be attached to them can be done?
Yes, I agree with that. And as I mentioned, it's all about partnership. If you have too much regulation, it's definitely killing the business. And it's definitely killing the motivation of young entrepreneurs who really want to make a difference. So it has to be a strong partnership. And actually the main question for the regulators and the public sector is that, what is the purpose? Why we are doing all this heavy stuff for the regulation, right? What is the purpose? Do we just want to make a hard time and living for the younger generation, right? I think not. So I think the public sector should also think about what is the bigger purpose. Because I think for Kenya and many other African countries, the purpose is to attract a lot of new talent here as well, as well as capital, right? I think a lot of Kenyans have very good ideas for different businesses. But as you also mentioned, capital is required. You can't build a business if you don't have capital. The question is how you will get the capital, how you will raise money. So I think this is only if the business environment is attractive, if the regulations are reasonable, because if they aren't reasonable, there is no success, right? So at the end of the day, the public sector and regulators will also lose. Because imagine the situation if Kenyan government is very open-minded to collaborate with the private sector and to build the regulations together with young entrepreneurs, then I think it will create a situation where the foreign capital wants to fly in, right? So, and what I can say from the European perspective towards Africa is that, there is still, unfortunately, quite a solid level of corruption. This is definitely the thing to deal with. This was the same thing in Estonia in the 90s as well. We had a lot of corruption.
That's the monster. That animal is a monster. So on that, that's all they are saying. It's a monster. Corruption. That's what they are all saying. Because the moment you mention corruption, you saw them all coming up. Because it's a monster we need to deal with. But if you were able to deal with it, definitely Africa will be able to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. Yeah? Thank you so much, brother. It's good having you.